So you have a new puppy or kitten. What I'd like to do over the next few minutes is just go over some things, because it's so hard to go over everything in an exam room when the doctor is there with you on your new puppy and kitten, that what I want to do is kind of give you an overview of what they're going to discuss with you. And one of the most important things you can do when you get a new puppy or kitten, obviously, is to get that new pet examined, because what we're looking for is any birth defects, congenital problems, to making sure that that puppy or kitten is healthy. And if there are any deficiencies, can they be coped with? So then we go into, if the puppy and kitten is healthy, we go into explaining a vaccination program. Vaccines are given to puppies and kittens to protect them against certain diseases. And we've got probably almost maybe 8 or 10 different vaccines for dogs and for cats. But at our clinic, we don't believe in over-vaccinating puppies or kittens or even adult dogs. We have what we call the core vaccines that we feel are the most important ones, and that's what we'll recommend for your puppy or kitten. And we do what we call a risk assessment for puppies and kittens as well as adult dogs to determine what vaccines your puppy or kitten or cat needs. So we'll explain that to you, and usually puppies and kittens get vaccinations or shots anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks apart, depending on what it's already had, depending on what vaccines we're using, depending on the age of the pet. The other thing we do is we do fecal exams. We're checking for internal parasites, which are a big problem in this area. And actually the health department and the Communicable Disease Center in Atlanta actually a few years ago recommended veterinarians to treat puppies and kittens every time they saw them for worms, even if the fecal exam showed no worms in the fecal. And the reason for that is that they don't always pass eggs. So in order for us to have an impact on the public health of our children particularly, they recommend deworming puppies and kittens, which we do at this clinic. The other thing we'll talk to you about is heartworm and flea problems. Heartworms are a big problem in this area because the mosquito that carries it and transmits it is extremely common in the Gulf Coast states. Cats as well as dogs get heartworms, so we do recommend heartworm prevention medication even in cats. If your cat is outside or goes in and out, it is a candidate for that, because the treatment that we have in dogs is very successful, but there is no treatment in cats, so prevention is the key. Interesting enough, the heartworm medications, either topically or once a month orally, not only prevent your pet from getting heartworms, but prevent intestinal worms. So it's very, very cost effective and really keeps your pet healthy. Let's talk about fleas. Fleas are here year-round. We don't have a lot of hard freezes, a lot of snow on the ground, so we have to treat for fleas almost 12 months out of the year. And what happens is that people let up on flea control, and then they develop a flea problem, and then you play catch-up. So we're going to recommend things to prevent and be proactive about a lot of things, including flea control. Spaying and neutering. Pets live longer, healthier lives if they're spayed or neutered. We have less car accident cases coming in dogs that are spayed and neutered. We have less cancer in dogs that are spayed or neutered, and cats. So neutering and spaying assures your dog and cat of living a much healthier, longer life. And also it does away with the heats every few months. It does away with some behavioral issues that they develop when they go through heats and so on. When we spay or neuter a pet, what we're actually doing is we're making it incapable of having puppies or kittens. And what it entails is that in a spay we actually remove both ovaries, both horns of the uterus, and part of the body of the uterus. Same thing for a dog and a cat. And when you alter or castrate a male cat or dog, what you do is you remove both testicles, and both of these are major surgeries, but the spay is actually a major abdominal surgery, whereas the alter a male is not as big a deal, but it still requires anesthesia and a considerable amount of time. The other thing we recommend highly is microchipping. Microchipping is the only way that you can permanently identify your pet. And what we do is we have an instrument that we inject a little, like a half of a grain of rice underneath the skin, then we scan it and a number comes up. That number is your pet's number for life. And we've actually traced dogs back to Atlanta that belong to people in Tampa. So it's really something that we recommend to all pets and to get microchipped, especially with hurricanes and things like that. It's extremely important. Now you've got a new puppy or kitten, you have to concern yourself with puppy and kitten proofing your house. You have to be careful where you put certain things under cabinets, like things that can be toxic or poisonous. You have to be careful with electric cords because they like to chew them. You'll have to be careful with tropical plants, because if your pet chews plants, any tropical plant, if they get enough of it, can be toxic. It can make them very, very ill, and in some cases cause death. So these are things that you need to discuss with us if your puppy or kitten is getting into plants or other things. Housebreaking. Housebreaking is a tough thing. Let's talk about dogs first. Puppies need to go out every few hours, and you need to take them to the same area of the yard, because if you play with them in the same area that you want them to potty, guess what? You're sending mixed messages. So there should be a potty area and a play area, and when they do something outside and potty, you need to reward them, give them a treat, tell them good boy, good girl, or whatever. Okay? Same thing when they're inside, you need to use negative reinforcement. If you catch them squatting and doing something inappropriately, you yell, you scream, you throw something their way, not to hit them and hurt them, but to get their attention. And if you use a combination of positive and negative reinforcement and everybody's consistent, you'll housebreak your puppy in no time. But remember, they need to go out frequently. As they get older, they have better bladder control, obviously, and can hold more urine for longer periods of time. With cats, litter boxes, and sometimes with a kitten, it's easier to train them to a litter box if you have 2 or 3 of them, and they can be temporary ones, and then eventually, once they start using it, you can have your main litter box. And cats are very fastidious. If they urinate or defecate in there, you need to clean it right away, because if it's in there, they won't go back sometimes, and they'll find another place to go, which is inappropriate. So it's very important. Now, getting back to dogs for a minute, crate training is recommended by most behaviorists and trainers, and that involves the puppy kept in a crate when it's unsupervised, either at night, sleeping, or when you leave the house. And actually, they're cave animals, so they don't mind being confined like that. So crate training is very, very important, and we've given you literature to read on that and be more specific, but I highly recommend it. Socializing your puppy and obedience classes are so important. I recommend all puppies go through obedience classes. We have Vic Carlson holds classes right here in our parking lot twice a week. It's a very, very good thing because it socializes your puppy to other pets as well as other people. So it's a very, very important thing. And I promise you that if you go through obedience training, you will have less behavioral problems with your pet, and you'll enjoy your pet a lot better. It's a good idea to take your puppy to other areas where they can meet other dogs and other people, but you got to be careful when they're puppies and haven't gone through all their puppy shots yet. It's better not to expose them to a lot of parks and unknown areas, because stray dogs can be sick and spread diseases, and that's the way they're picked up. So the first 3 or 4 months of a puppy's life needs to be a little bit guarded and controlled, but after that it's a good idea to take them to other places to socialize your puppy. Emergency care. Our doctors and techs work so hard that we can't provide, care for your pets 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we are associated with a couple of emergency clinics in the area. We've got one in Largo, one in Brandon, two in North Tampa on Bush, and one on Bears and Florida Avenue. And if you call our number after hours, the clinic number, will refer you to these emergency clinics, and we work very closely with them. We'll end up calling you the next day before you usually call us. And they're an extension of our practice. We work very closely with all the emergency clinics in the area. Let's talk about pet insurance. Pet insurance is something fairly new. Less than probably 2 or 3% of all the pets in the United States are insured by pet insurance, but yet you go to Europe and in some countries 40–50% of the pets have pet insurance. Really, pet insurance should be looked at this way. It's a way to budget for your pet care. And you can go to our website or ask the office for brochures and we'll give them to you, but our website has several companies that you can go to their website and actually sign up right through our website. And I'd like to encourage you to go to our website. vmctampa.com. It's a great source of information. We've got some great links on there for all sorts of information. We've got our own library plus a couple of other libraries on there. So it's a good source to learn more about puppy and kitten care as well as adult care. So what I've done here is I've given you kind of an overview real quick on puppy and kitten care, but I've covered some of the major things that we will cover with you again in the exam room. So enjoy your puppy and kitten. Feel free to call us anytime you have a question about your puppy or kitten, and we'll hope to see you soon.